Hi everyone, it's Ariana Newcomer. This is my full moon oracle message for the month of October, the very first full moon in October of 2020. Usually I do Wisdom Wednesdays, and yesterday was Wednesday and I didn't do one. So this is a combination of Wisdom Wednesdays and the full moon oracle message. My topic today is liminal space, liminality, being in the liminal space, making friends with the liminal space. I love this word liminal because it does sound kind of magical, doesn't it? And being in liminal space means being in transition, being threshold. The word limen from Latin literally means a threshold. So crossing a threshold, going from one state of being into a new state of being, which is what we're doing culturally right now. And I feel like I'm really hanging up, I'm hung up on the threshold. I'm hung up in this place where the old is dissolving, the new has not yet come in. And where am I? And who am I? And who are we? And what are we doing? And it can be a place where it is very disorienting. And if you are subject to this thing of deciding there's something you need to go into another room to do, and by the time you get into the other room, you have forgotten what it is that you went to do, which is something that happens to me all the time now. But I've read that there is a particular brain function that when we cross a threshold, there's like a reset in the brain. And so that's what makes us forget what it was that we were crossing the threshold to do from one room to the next. Now, I can usually recover what it was that I was planning to do if I go back into the original room in which I had the idea, and then I hold that thought crossing the threshold. But I'm in a personal time of making some decisions about potentially big changes about what's happening next for me personally, for my business, for my personal life. And I have been having to really allow myself to have a lot of space for doing nothing. So I have talked about this doing nothing. My guides have talked about the place of unknowing, and I have channeled through that information a number of times in these full moon oracle messages. And this is just another piece. It's another piece of that. The liminal space is that space of unknowing. It is the space between. It is the crossing place. It is the threshold. And it takes courage. It takes courage for us to allow ourselves to be in the liminal space long enough for the new direction or the new constructs to become clear. And it's important that we don't rush this. So I have personally been allowing myself to do a lot of reading of fantasy fiction and murder mysteries where everything comes out all right. And it's all very elegant. And I like English murder mysteries quite a bit. But I know that my subconscious is working on stuff while I'm allowing my conscious mind to be in another world. And I really want to be in another world right now. I don't want to be in this one, not this one. You know, it just right now feels like it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. You think it can't get worse, and then it gets worse. So making friends with the liminal space is what I am feeling like I need to be consciously doing right now. And my guides have been giving this message for quite a long time now. The place of unknowing is also the liminal space. place of unknowing is the place of possibilities, the liminal space. Being in liminality is being in the place of possibilities. And we need to allow ourselves to be there as long as we need to be, even when it's really uncomfortable. So doing things to take care of ourselves while we're in liminal space is really valuable. So of course, our meditation practice, but for me at this time, reading fantasy novels is a kind of meditation practice, because it holds my conscious mind in the story, in this other world, while my unconscious is actually working on on being in the liminal space and finding where the crossing points are. Where are the places for me to go from the old that is breaking down into the new that has not yet come into form? So what's the next little step? What's the crossing point? What's the actual threshold that when I step across, things will become clear? So to continue to allow ourselves to be in this beautiful place of liminality, and sometimes we can feel crazy when we're in this place, but these times of being in liminal space are really essential for our transformation, for evolution, for elevation of human consciousness. And so humanity is in liminal space at this time, and the collective affects us. If you've been listening to me for some time, you know that I really acknowledge and understand how the collective energies really affect us and how we can affect the collective energies. It's a two-way system. So the more we allow ourselves to be in our own liminal space and give ourselves full permission to be in this crazy time and to flow with it and to do what we need to do to take care of ourselves at this time. Whether for you, it might be going for walks in nature. You might want to be reading fiction right now. Some of the people I know are reading nothing but nonfiction right now. And it's just, take a bath, drink tea, do meditations, do sacred ceremonies. There's so many different ways that each of us can support our own time in liminal space. And to remember again and again, remind ourselves that this place of unknowing is the place of possibilities, and to allow ourselves not to know. A lot of times for humans, that's really uncomfortable. We don't like to not know. And yet my guidance has been over and over and over this year, be in the place of unknowing. That is the place of possibilities. And so liminal space is that same place of unknowing. So we need to trust that the liminal space is actually holding us and supporting us in doing the inner transformation, the energetic reconfigurations, the letting go of old stories, the old constructs that we learned as children in our culture that have been really holding humanity back and us back personally. Letting go of that and allowing ourselves to be in the soup, kind of like being, when the caterpillar spins the cocoon to turn into a butterfly. There are these magical things called imaginal cells. The caterpillar actually completely dissolves into soup. And then these imaginal cells begin the process of creating the butterfly out of soup. So this is a natural process. It's a process of nature. It's a process of human beings. Yet can bring us like right up to our inner fears of our make us acknowledge the places where, you know what, this is a vulnerability for me, or this is an old story. Wow, I really have to let go of that one if I'm going to move across this threshold. But this is precious, precious being in the liminal space. So I really invite us all to make friends with the liminal space, to allow ourselves to be in this liminal space. The dissolution of order, this is from Wikipedia on liminality. The dissolution of order during liminality creates a fluid, malleable situation that enables new institutions and customs to be established. That sounds like what we want, right? And so really giving ourselves permission and making friends with this liminal space. Here's another, this is something from a website called inaliminalspace.org. And it's a quote from Friar Richard Rohr, R-O-H-R. It's a Franciscan friar. The liminal space is where we are betwixt and between the familiar and the completely unknown. There alone is our old world left behind, while we are not yet sure of the new existence. That's a good space where genuine newness can begin. Get there often and stay as long as you can by whatever means possible. This is the sacred space where the old world is able to fall apart and a bigger world is revealed. If we don't encounter liminal space in our lives, we start idealizing normalcy. Now that's another piece, right? With this COVID-19 pandemic, we've all been longing to get back to normalcy, but really our normal life was killing us. And so here we are. The pandemic is one of the things that has popped us into this liminal space. Oh, we're having to shelter in place. We can't do the normal things. That gives us this opportunity to open the door to the threshold, to allow something really new to come in and to take form, and allow us to be able to even imagine, like the imaginal cells, imagine and see what could be possible if we let go. I like this, the sacred spaces where the old world is able to fall apart, not where it falls apart, it's able to fall apart, which gives us this idea that, oh, it's supposed to, supposed to fall apart, so that we can actually cross this liminal threshold, the liminal space, into the new that is calling us. It's calling us. It's calling us across the liminal space. And a lot of more has to happen in order for that to happen. So let's make friends with the liminal space. However, you need to take care of you in your liminal space. Give yourself permission. Allow yourself to have those down days. Like I spent my day yesterday just reading fiction. But I needed to do that for my liminal space, so that my subconscious and my unconscious is working and working while I'm doing that. Because our conscious minds can inhibit us from even imagining what is possible in the new, because they're stuck in the old stories and the old world, right? The old constructs, the old culture. So, making friends with liminal space. I would be delighted to support you in being within your liminal space with more grace. If you would like, biofield tuning is a great way to do that. Spiritual mentoring is another way. Energy healing and clearing, which are some of my specialties, and working with voice and being able to voice fully yourself into the world. So I will have a link in the comments where you can connect with me, talk about the possibilities for working together. And in the meantime, allow and enjoy this time in the liminal space, the threshold between the old and the new. Blessings And I will see you all next time.